to Oops All Apocalypses, a show where we explore the collapse of society by playing fun tabletop role-playing games. I'm your host, Stu Masterson, and I'm joined by two non-main characters from the Sonic franchise.
I'm Knuckles. No, I'm Tails.
Oh crap, I say those are main characters.
Oh, I don't know anyone else.
This is a hardcore geek check.
I'm Dr. Jim Carrey.
Hey everyone, I'm Charmy B, and I play Ocean, a gentle giant who is feeling pretty pleased with his work on wiring different types of robots together.
Hey dudes, I'm Angry Brad. He's back. And
That's not a real Sonic character.
no. And I am also Tails, the non-main character from Sonic.
Cheater.
Hotshot, what's Tails' real Christian name?
Hold on.
Biblical Christian name given to him by our cool friend Jesus.
Oh, it is a pun. I know it's a pun.
It's a good pun. Don't look it up, you cheater. I see you.
Oh, it's Miles Prower.
Did you cheat?
No, my phone is face down on my desk.
But you're also recording on a computer.
You are using a computer.
My hands. I've been playing with the cord under the table. I promise I didn't cheat. I don't cheat.
I'm gonna trust you on this one.
I'm a very academically integrative person.
Okay, I interrupted your introduction though, Brady.
Hey everyone, I'm Brady, and I'm also Miles Prower, and I am also Book McCready, the cold and staring brain picker, who's really interested in kind of figuring out what his new orb is doing. He's excited about his orb.
I'm interested in learning if I'm going to have to ask you to re-record all your audio, because we haven't done that yet for the first one. So sorry to interrupt, Jacob. Your turn.
Oh, we mean like because of the voice I did?
Yes.
You think it's too quiet?
We'll see how it gets through the old filters and whatnot.
I think it'll be good.
This week's BuzzFeed Presents Apocalypse is brought to us by our very own Jacob Cecil.
I'm using my full biblical Christian name. This must be a really important question.
Just like Miles Prower.
Just like our friend Miles Prower over there. So my question is, everybody has kind of like a niche hobby that they're really into, right? Like painting miniatures, doing puzzles, making music, just all kinds of playing guitar, all kinds of weird hobbies. Not all of them, niche. Some are more niche than others. But if Book or Ocean had a niche hobby, what hobby would they have?
Okay, I have one, but you have to go first because you asked the question.
Ocean would be really into metal detecting, I think.
That's so good.
My favorite thing, sorry to interrupt you, is a metal detector is already the device they use, so they have to be called metal detectorists.
Yeah.
Which is great. And they get really mad if you call them a metal detector because they're like, that's this thing.
That's my thing.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's a true story.
That's obscene.
It's amazing. I love it.
Just because you like finding cool stuff.
Yeah. Finding cool stuff. I can just see him just with his little headphones on, just on the beach, boop, 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 looking for stuff for hours. That'd keep him occupied forever, I think.
I think every child had some phase where they're like, a metal detector is the coolest thing.
I did. I know for sure I did as a kid.
I had one
My dad
as a
actually
kid.
tricked me a lot because there's like a metal detector, I guess. I'm not exactly sure how they worked, and I'm assuming this is how they worked, but it was like one of those that I guess you pull a trigger and it beeps or something. And so what he would do is he would not have pull the trigger when he would move it, but then he'd put it on his head and then he'd pull the trigger and it'd start beeping, even though it's not really indicating that there's
So you
metal
thought
there.
he had a metal head? Yeah.
I thought he had a metal head. I was so freaked out.
That's funny.
That's how they get you. I think this may be the time period we grew up. I feel like there was like a late 90s, early 2000 where it was like, this is a way you could be rich.
Yep, 100%.
Well, yeah, it was how it was advertised on those commercials.
I got a super cheap plastic metal detector when I was a kid, and like literally that weekend my cousin lost an earring or a ring in my great grandparents' backyard. I spent like 3 hours metal detectoring the backyard. Never beeped a single time. And then someone just found it laying in the grass. So either that ring was not magnetic, which is probably the most likely thing, or my metal detector was a piece of shit, which is also objectively just true. So
I also had a very cheap metal detector. So good job, team. All of us.
Ocean, Stew, and Bread.
What's your What's your hobby, Angry
Okay.
Brad?
Book's hobby is doing those like dinosaur bone excavation kits where you get just like a block of cement. But it's not really cement. It's just like a brick of dirt.
I know exactly
And you're just
what you're
scooping
talking
out
about.
dirt and looking for
I know.
plastic dinosaur bones. And sometimes you get like the really nice ones will have like shark teeth in it, like real shark teeth. Book would just do those for 100% of the day.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't think I have any follow-up questions.
I did so many of those as a child.
I could
But
tell.
Book would do those. As
I
an
did
adult.
one 2 years ago because it was a dragon egg.
Cool.
So I'm still.
Did you get a dragon? Did you paint the dragon after?
I did not. It was a cheap plastic thing. I was thinking about painting it, but I did not. I did not do so.
I think I definitely understand the appeal of those, but I feel like that may be one of my least favorite things to ever do.
Really? No, they're
Yeah,
fun.
I don't get anything out of that. That would just frustrate me.
They're fun.
Like, oh, not
Would
for
you be
me.
the just type of person you just pick up the brick of dirt and you just smash it and pick up all the plastic
Yeah,
pieces?
I want the treat. I want the thing inside. I don't want to do the process of it.
The process is part of the fun, though.
The funny thing is I got so many of those as a kid that like I had like, and the quality of those was like varied wildly. So I had like most of them came with like a little wooden, basically like a thick toothpick to use to poke around in the dirt. But every once in a while you get one that had like a little metal thing that you could use and like a brush to like poke around. And so I would,
Oh, you had fancy
I would
ones.
use my fancy one for all of the ones that I got.
I would run it under the water and ruin a sink.
That would ruin a sink. It was just a brick of dirt. It was like a brick of clay. So much fun. I want one of those now.
I have a lot of hobbies, and I'm trying to think of like what the most interesting or esoteric one would be to
Yeah,
talk
the most
about.
niche one.
The most niche, I think right now that has to be guitaring.
Having a podcast.
No, that's got to be guitaring.
Guitaring is a very niche. I don't think I know very many people who have a guitar.
Yes.
You still haven't sent us a video of you guitaring.
It's because I'm not good enough yet. Brady and Jacob got me a guitar for Christmas because they're the best.
That we did.
And in retaliation, I got Jacob a completely self-serving gift that only helps me. And Brady's gift has been an ongoing legal battle with an entity.
Which is good. I got a keyboard in the mail, regular keyboard, not a guitar. And I thought it was my gift from Stu because I always complain to him about how I don't have a good keyboard. And it turns out it's from work.
Yeah, I got one
Yeah,
too.
why did they send us a keyboard?
Just to piss me off because they know I have no desk space for it. But Brady, your gift will be here before next Christmas.
Wow, I'm excited.
That shouldn't make you excited though, because it's something that is that difficult to procure.
It's a dinosaur bone. It's a brick of clay.
Yeah, I got in a legal battle. I tried to buy one off the black market Hobby Lobby people who sneak them out of the
Oh yeah,
homeland.
let's steal them from the.
It's from
Yeah.
nickcage.com.
Well, with those dinosaur bones of topics we've been discussing, let us get back to the action. Okay, before we do beginning of session moves, you guys make it back to Hamlet opening. You are arriving back very late. All the lights have been off for quite a while. You get that sense, like in Hamlet opening, it's not a very big town, but as it ramps down for the night, fewer and fewer people basically stay out. And by the time you get back, even Juniper's bar is closed. I would say not in a concerning way. This isn't a secret way I'm going to lead to some dramatic turn and go, yes, everyone's dead or something cool like that. This is a boring way that you guys get back to town late. As you guys pull back in, where are you guys going first, I guess? You guys got some researching to do.
Okay, should I run through the to-do list?
Yeah, well, do the priority. Tell me the first priority of your to-do
First,
list.
I'm going to talk about the to-do list, and then Jacob and I will decide on the priority. All right, so the 5 threads now that we're looking at is diverting the water.
You're not really looking at, right?
So that involves, they're going to fix up the submarine. We're going to trade it for the imager. We're going to use the imager to find the tunnels, and we're going to blast open the tunnels to divert the water.
Yeah. That's pretty much out of your hands
More
right
or
now.
less out of our hands. The next thing we're doing, we're investigating emptying the transfer, which involves getting the TTE and then hopefully using that to talk to Book's mom and activating the pumps. And then we'll pump the water out so that if the doors open, it doesn't endanger anyone. The other thing we're looking into is stopping the tower. So we're getting Vesuvius into the power armor, which we've already done. And then we're also going to investigate the laptop with Randy Candy to see if Intaglio put in a back door to the tower, in which case we might be able to re-engineer that to hack into the tower via that like Wi-Fi connection. And then also we're going to look into the laptop to see what commands they passed into it to open the door, to see if we could also figure out how to close the door. Which leads me to the next one, which is stop the doors from opening. We're going to investigate the laptop and investigate those override codes. And then the last one is evacuating the baffles. This one's out of our hands. Papa Woody is working on a plan for that and figuring out how long it'll take, so we know when like our drop dead date is for when we would have to evacuate the baffles.
Excellent.
So Jacob, what do you think we should do first?
So I have an idea, and this is maybe not something that was on your list, but it's an idea that I was thinking.
You have a 7th idea.
It's something somewhat related because it combines things together, right? So we want to use the TTE to communicate with your mom, or at least try to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to make Brady's noise.
Yes.
What if we got Randy Candy he's a tech guy, right? And a long time ago, we heard weird old boops and beeps that we didn't understand through the TTE.
True.
So what if we get Randy Candy hooked into the TTE and see if he can send messages or figure it out a little bit better?
I like it.
And then we can also have him look into the laptop, though I do not think we should plug the laptop into the TTE.
Definitely not. No, the laptop needs to be like we need to keep it in a Faraday cage so no more signals can get to it.
I know who has one of those.
Intaglio?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also may have put a virus in.
I don't think he did.
You don't think he did?
No, I don't think he did.
But how would we know?
If he did, I think he would be unknowingly.
I don't know, man. How else would they have Wi-Fi'd into the laptop? Like, Wi-Fi can't initiate a connection. That had to happen from the laptop.
But he just found this laptop, right? Like, it's not like something he built and programmed and made himself. It's just something he had lying around, right?
Yeah,
so
it was something he had lying around.
So who knows how long this has been set up and laying and trapped.
Well,
maybe this laptop he found and it's just meant to, anytime it gets plugged into something, is to hijack it.
Sounds like we need to introduce Randy Candy and Intaglio so they can use the Faraday cage to investigate the laptop together.
Seems like a good plan.
And if Randy Candy turns up dead, we know who did it.
And then we go to the TTE and send messages to mom.
I like it.
Hello, mom. Are you there?
Beep, 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 beep.
That's Morse code for I'm dead. Smash cut. Randy Candy's office. He's wearing a sleeping gown with one of those funny, silly hats. And he looks very sleepy, but he is drinking a cup of coffee and powering up the laptop. He had a Faraday cage in here. This isn't some fancy thing. This was built maybe with your mom's help, but it was constructed of these like rolling chicken wire things that come down off the ceiling and kind of circle around. And he has weights at the bottom and random steel bars that are all clunking around. But you're able to all pile your way into this and you're lit by the warm glow of the computer. And he goes, so what do you need me to look at? What was wrong with this computer?
We're looking for two things. We want to know how they connected to the laptop, and we also want to know what commands they sent to the door to open.
Do you need like a lozenge?
Fucking look at me.
Do you need a lungeon? No, that's nothing. Okay.
Was that Randy Candy?
I think I can probably do that. Yes.
Book smacks Randy Candy upside the head.
Okay, I'll stay focused. Give me a research roll, Book.
Ah, I see. That is a 7 plus 3, 10.
So he clicks around and he goes, shit, they did like a billion commands in this. And he's pulled up some sort of like event log built into the operating system that he's scrolling through. And it looks like there's just a bunch of random garbage to like try to obfuscate what they're doing. And he's definitely getting a little frustrated by it, but he's kind of tabbing through it. He writes some like pretty simple things to help try to pare it down and make it more queryable. And he ends up going, I think I found it. I think I found kind of the important sequence here. Okay.
Book pulls out the override codes and he gives them to Randy Candy. He says, you might be able to filter on these.
He looks at it and he goes, okay, do you know which one of these I should look for? I could search
No,
for.
but the format's consistent, so if you use a glob, you might be able to match to things even if you don't know exactly which numbers are supposed to show up.
Yeah, that seems to make sense. Yeah, thanks for the help. He starts typing on it. Glob. He looks at Ocean and laughs. And he keeps typing away, and eventually...
Hey, a glob is a real thing.
I know, I'm making fun of you for being overconfident. I think I may be able to bounce it off of that list you gave me. I found them trying to reach a specific hardware address. I haven't backed up to how they actually connected it yet, but they were trolling through anything on this connection that could be reached to this specific endpoint right here. And he highlights something on the screen, which is just a bunch of pair of numbers and letters. And then to that, they sent some commands for an emergency something. And to do that, they had to pass in all this stuff, and he saves something down, and then he goes and opens it, and it just looks like a bunch of garbage letters, like malformed characters and things like that. And he goes, looks like there's some sort of encryption on the code they sent. I can try to see if I can undo it, but if it's like anything military or quantum based, I'm going to be fucked.
Could it just be a binary format we don't recognize?
Let me see. He tries to change the file extension and double click it. Nothing happened.
Not exactly what I meant.
Because I don't think so. I think this was the actual, these are the credentials being sent basically. And then the command falls and he's like highlighting different parts of the screen. He goes like, this section here is an actual payload that they're sending that is ingested by whatever the endpoint was. I don't know what that is, but this was actually what they had to send there. And it's all gobbled up like this. I don't know what it's actually trying to say, but I can try to back out how they even connected to the machine, if that'd be helpful.
Yeah, we need to know why my computer connected to their Wi-Fi without me doing anything.
Okay, if I can try to look that up. And then he's trying to like dig through like different shitty Windows histories and stuff like that to try to figure out like Wi-Fi connections and when they happened and when they didn't. Luckily, there's no other Wi-Fi that's ever occurred, but in this list, there's like hundreds of thousands of like connections, disconnects that seem to happen in fractions of nanoseconds, just constantly as it's going on. And he's looking through and he's like, I really can't describe how this is working. I don't think it should have worked unless you initiated it, because it's supposed to come from the computer, but somehow they put something in here that tricked it into thinking it was already a trusted source. I don't know how that works though. The computer thinks it already, he highlights a part and he's like, look at this right here. He's like, the computer thinks it had already connected to this before and already knew like the password and thing.
Intaglio, when you were working on this computer, did it connect to anything before?
I didn't even know I was here. No, this one was just in a pile with all my other ones.
We were in his office, right?
We're in Randy Candy's office.
I thought we were in Intaglio's because you said Intaglio had a Faraday cage.
Nope, Randy Candy did somehow.
That was not clear. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'm here now. But no, this was just on my stack of extra laptops. It was one that wasn't working, but I just had to like swap out the RAM from a different laptop, clean it out a little bit, hooked up the hard drive that was given to me, and it came on. There's nothing nefarious about it.
Book would like to do a deep brain scan on Intaglio to determine if he may have modified the laptop.
Okay, what does that look like?
When you have time to study someone, you can read them more deeply than usual. Roll plus weird on a 10 plus. Ask their player.
Aesthetically, what does it look like when you do it?
Yeah, because you have the special power to do it quicker with your eyeball, right?
Yes, with my eyeball, I can do it quickly.
So what does that look like to you? How are you reading him?
Oh, I think I see.
Are you like seeing auras? Are you seeing little tiny imperceptible differences in his reactions?
I think my robot eye kind of like is more, I think it's sharper and more perceptive than my regular eye. And it kind of like, it zooms from like his eyes to his lips, to his nose, to his hands. And like, I just kind of like scan him, which is in the name of the thing. But it just kind of quickly, like I look at like if he's sweating, if his eyes are moving, in a certain way, if he's twitching, if his nostrils are flared. And then based off of that, I think I get it almost kind of feels like the eye is showing me what to look at, maybe. And from that, I get a sense of what his motivations and intentions are. But I also have to roll plus weird.
Yes, you have to give me a plus weird.
Okay, so that was a 9.
Okay, ask one question. Your options are: what was your lowest moment? What unfinished business do you have and with whom? What is your deepest secret fear? How could I really get my hooks into you?
Okay, Jacob, should I do what unfinished business do you have and with whom, or what is your deepest secret fear? I feel like the business one might be more directly applicable.
I think the business one.
Okay, so Book wants to know what unfinished business Antaglio has and with whom.
There's this like sense of recognition in his face when you like lay out this as a possible plan, and you see him like looking at the laptop more like closely. He's kind of like leaning over, trying to see different parts of it, like he's trying to recognize some details about this specific laptop that he's not sure about.
I think you got to give me more than that, Stu.
I don't know how to do that with his eye and head movements.
Oh, I'm doing a deep brain scan.
I know, that's what I was trying to say. How do you want to get the information?
I think I'm intuiting it. So that means you tell me what I intuit.
Your eye notices all these discrepancies between kind of the confidence of his statement and like how he wants more information now. Like what you said kind of opened his mind up to some other possibility. And your eye traces exactly where his eyes were looking throughout this laptop. And it's like looking over all of these different spots. And you realize that it's not really looking for any information on the screen. He's looking at areas where there would be like a sticker or a tag some sort on this laptop. And you feel like he's worried about what the original source of this laptop is.
Interesting. Antaglio,
Yes.
where'd you get this from?
I honestly don't remember. But there was a time period where in the past, I don't do this anymore, I did do a little bit of trading with some of the yellow Humvee people. Just a little bit. Just for hyper specific things I needed.
Right. And what unfinished business do you have with them?
Well, technically, I was supposed to drop off some things for them a few months ago, and I did not do that because of the current state of Hamlet opening.
What did they want from you?
It wasn't anything to do with this laptop. And I don't think this is one. Here, let me see real quick. And he leans over and he pulls up the bottom so you can see underneath. And he's like, no, usually they have some like weird stickers on them and stuff like that. And this doesn't have any of those. So I don't think this was one of them. But they frequently would want some like very specific things of a kind of chemical nature from me.
Stop beating around the bush. What did they want from you? What didn't you deliver to them?
They would send me these readouts of chemicals and some light distillation processes in some of the kind of solutions I would get from them. And I was supposed to run that through it and provide them back to them. Most of it, in my opinion, was just like low harm acids, things like that. It's not like anything nefarious. It wasn't creating grand poisons. There was no bone gas at all. It was all just normal chemistry things.
Bone gas?
Don't worry about bone gas. It's inherently unstable.
Did you make what they wanted? You just never delivered it?
Yes. Never delivered it.
Do you still have it?
Yes.
Can you bring it here?
Yes. It has to remain chilled, but it'll be good for a few hours. Don't be angry at me.
Sorry, I sneezed. It hurt a lot.
Yeah, I feel like a sneeze in your current situation would be incredibly painful.
Ocean, can you think speak this laptop?
I was just about to say that I was going to. So yeah, Ocean lays his hands on it and let's see what happens. That's a 12. Wow, I get to ask 3.
Nice.
So obviously, what has been done most recently with this or to this? What's wrong with this and how might I fix it? And who made this is what I'm thinking.
I like that.
Those are my 3 choices.
As usual, I will be nice and actually say interesting things and not like the last thing that was done was someone handed it to Randy Candy. As usual, I'm going to do it going backwards in time. I think that's how I normally do this one. So your mind flashes back through the history of it. You kind of feel yourselves. You get a lot of the things that you just went through recently from this object's perspective. You feel it connecting up to that door and all of the commands it sent. And then it zooms back further and you see Intaglio loading up and putting this new hard drive on it. And it seems like exactly like how he described it. Nothing nefarious going on. But then it zooms back a little bit further and you see Intaglio in his room. There's a bunch of dolls around that look like everyone from town. He's singing Spice Girls. He's like, tell me what I want, what I really, really want. And he has a spatula in his hand and he's just scraping stickers off of laptops left and right. And this laptop, he's scraping a bunch of stickers off the bottom. And then he throws it into a pile of a bunch of other laptops. Goes back even further. And you see this laptop is in a room that has to be someplace like the tower. It couldn't be anywhere else. There's high-tech shit involved. There's automation. There's little hand robots that look like they should be doing surgery, but instead they're doing shit on a circuit board. And you see it going in there and just with this pinpoint laser, just like going over the processor, going over all this stuff, figuring out information on it. And then data flows into the laptop. And you can see there's this giant conveyor belt of just hundreds, thousands of shitty random laptops of different shapes and sizes. And it looks like all of them are kind of going through the same process. And what you feel like is happening to this is that like down hidden at the root level of this, the kind of credentials to log in as some sort of administrator being added, and that kind of memory of this being a trusted Wi-Fi network were built into the laptop. Am I missing one? I guess who created it, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And then it just goes back through its history. This is from a very long time ago, and it was just created like any other laptop in some giant factory with a million just like it getting pooped out onto a conveyor belt and shipped across the great underground.
Yeah, Ocean will share all that information to Book and the rest of them.
So it sounds like it was a tower laptop.
Or at least the very least was tampered with by the tower.
My bad. Promise I didn't know.
Created by probably a regular laptop manufacturer.
And they gave you these in exchange for you making brain acid or bone acid or whatever.
This is actually from their trash, but yes, they would give me their trash. No, and not bone gas. That told you inherently unstable doesn't work on humans.
I want to look at the like recycle bin, the deleted folder. I want to see if there's anything we can recover from like when it was owned by the tower. Actually, I want to ask Randy Candy to do that because I don't know how to fucking do that.
This is only the hard drive from your mom. I can't go look at anything that was done before that. And Taglier used to have that old one and he goes, yeah, but I don't think it was working. I think that's why I chose this laptop. I think it was pretty much fried. I definitely don't know which one it was now. It's either thrown away or in a giant drawer of like 50,000 solid state drives.
Ocean has an idea. And he kind of looks around and says, here, maybe I'll be able to find it. And he opens his mind to the psychic maelstrom.
We got to go to Antaglio's voiced.
Oh, damn it.
Smash cut.
You try to open it and then you realize you're in the Faraday cage.
They're so mixed up with locations.
Give me that roll.
It's not a good one. Is there any way you could feasibly help to push this 6 up to a 7?
Yeah, I say, we're not just necessarily looking for this specific laptop's hard drive, but any of them that were previously owned by the tower.
Okay.
Does that help, Stu?
It helps Ocean be smart. You can help him if you also open your mind to the psychic maelstrom.
Your boy rolled an 11 without the +3, so it's a 14.
Hell yeah.
Now give me a help someone roll with Ocean's history.
So that's an 8 plus 2 is 10.
Okay.
Nice. Choose your options. I'm guessing just +1.
Yeah, I'll do a plus E1.
And I believe both of your HXs also go up because you rolled a 10, right?
I thought that only happened if you rolled a 12, but no, I guess you're probably right.
No, so there's nothing that's really specific to a 12. It's always like on a 10 plus.
Both of you get +1 HX. So you're in Intaglio's and you go to open your mind to the psychic maelstrom. And Book, you try to give him that extra context right as he's opening it. And your words kind of deflate out of you and you feel your vision get dark again. And you feel your mind open up as well for trying to communicate with him while he was making that pivotal connection between the two realms. And what you see, Ocean, is this room becomes this room's always poorly lit already, but it becomes almost like black and white and almost difficult to see anything, and everything just looks like static. It's like you're looking at a very old like CRT screen, and there's little flecks of like dead looking pixels that draw your attention to different locations. And it's like this no matter where you look in this room, but there's this random just smattering of things that are glowing. And to you, you get this like overwhelming sense of danger from these objects. And then you snap out of it. Book, since you also opened your mind, you didn't see anything like that.
But I did get a full successo.
Yes. Your main focus was trying to help Ocean with this. So you're not really looking for that specific hard drive, like you were saying. You were trying to look for anything that, what was the way you phrased it? Anything belongs to the tower or anything?
Yes.
You hear this like piercing, high-pitched whining sound. It's way different than kind of the binary yelling you've heard before. It's way different than the Wi-Fi screech. It's like a whining sound, and it draws your attention to this object, like just discarded in the corner of the room under a pile of, it looks like it's under a pile of like film shit. It looks like maybe things he was disassembling to try to get a camera to work for you. But you find this like super high quality video camera just laying in the corner of the room. It doesn't look like it's a video camera, is the wrong word for it. It's a visual sensor of some sort. It has a camera components on it. This isn't like something for filming your kids play soccer. This is something that'd be a part of like a security system or something like that. But that's what you're immediately drawn to. You don't notice any specific hard drive or anything like that that's going to help you.
Fun. Is the camera sensor security thing, is it hooked up to anything, or is it like in a pile of wires?
No, just in a pile on the ground.
Okay. I don't touch it, but when Ocean comes to, I'm gonna have him speak it.
Yeah, when Ocean comes to, he kind of looks at everything, like all the devices in the room, and says, "Guys, I think every single one of these devices is booby trapped by the tower. We should be very careful with what we use, what we plug into these."
Oh shit. Is that so, Stu? Is that like accurate, or is that just a result of it being a semi-successful roll?
I would say that is a very astute statement based on your current situation of seeing his previous thing speak, where he saw there was like a factory worth of fucking with electronics to make them easier to access, plus his danger he sensed with many, many different objects throughout this room. It wasn't like literally everything, but he was seeing it from.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you think it wouldn't be unreasonable that there was a massive decades, centuries, whatever long campaign by the tower to make electronics have a backdoor in them, like the NSA would do today, that sort of stuff.
Hey, very nice.
This is topical commentary.
That's always
This is how you break an Iranian nuclear reactor. Do you guys know that story?
Yeah. Yeah. The first,
Brady, do you want to tell it better than me?
Highly successful virus was used to increase the rate of spin of Iranian uranium centrifuges just enough so that they broke really, really quickly. It just
that's smart.
It increased the RPMs a small enough amount that it was like imperceptible to people who were looking at them, but enough so that they were like, it just wore them out immediately, and it like destroyed them all.
That is very clever. All right, so you want me to speak the weirdo thingy?
Yeah, once you come out, I think book just says, "Ocean, speak to this."
All right, I'll give it a try. All right, he grabs it. 14. Much improved. I'm going to also go with what is wrong with this? How might I fix it? What has been done most recently with this or to this? I think who handled this last instead of who made this? You think that's a pretty good choice?
You see the last one to handle this was obviously Impaglio, but you get some context around what he was doing with it. You see him come back into this room with it very purposefully. Like this was the only reason he left, was to go retrieve this object. And then he goes and puts it on the table. And then you proceed to see him completely forget about it forever. He never remembers what the purpose of it was. It ends up getting like pushed back in with other piles of shit and just gets shoved into the corner. But he intentionally got this at some point, but he never actually used it. And you see, as he forgets about it, there's this dot matrix printer that is just there's this dot matrix printer that is continually printing out more requests for it that just keep piling up until they like flow onto the ground and he's just been focused on some other topic for a huge amount of time and completely let this all fall to the wayside. And then for what's wrong with it, you again get like that exploded view of this object, and it reminds you a lot of when you used your first thing speak, I believe, which was on top of that like radiator thing, that like CPU cooler.
Yes.
where you get all that information and you realize that it just works. It's fine. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. It just has to be hooked up to the right shit for it to work correctly.
I'll take that.
And you also get the feeling that it would be like tremendously valuable for its intended purpose. Like incredibly high quality, very well made.
Okay. Yeah, he turns and tells all that to Book as well. And Hamp tosses it to him. It's like, here, if you can figure out how to use it, it could be useful.
Intaglio, what was this for?
Oh shit. I think that was something the tower wanted me to get for them.
Do you think we could make a little back door ourselves?
Yeah, that's possible. You want me to deliver it after we do this back door? Just pretend, hey, sorry, I'm a little behind. Found some papers type things?
Well, you have this in the acid, right?
Yes. No bone gas.
Did they ask for bone gas?
We discussed it, but it's inherently unstable.
All you owe them is this and the acid.
That I can remember.
Do you think they'd kill you?
No, I've been a little late before. This has probably been the longest without communicado.
What's the acid for again?
I think it's probably some part of like battery construction type something really weak. Don't worry about it.
You think we could?
Won't melt bones.
Do you think we could sabotage that too?
Like by making it more acidy?
Yeah, or less acidy or whatever.
Yeah, we could do one of those too, but I'd be a little worried if we're trying to do like a sneak thing, that would probably be easier for them to test.
Yeah, that's true. Randy, Intaglio, I'd like to be able to use this to spy inside the tower. Do you think that you could rig that up and then deliver this to them?
Ooh, yep. I think we could do something like that. I no guarantee that they wouldn't be able to detect it. They seem pretty good at that stuff, but we can give it the old try.
Do your best. And one more thing. Can you try to get them out of my laptop?
Yeah, I think we can get that with Ocean telling me exactly what they did. I think we can probably reverse that, or at least change it enough where they can't get back in.
I think that was a pretty productive day. Book goes to bed.
Well, as that night comes to a close, let's move to our beginning of session moves. Okay, beginning of session moves. Let's start with living day to day. Both of y'all roll your barter.
My barter's actually not that bad these days.
You're getting loaded up.
Straight 10. Not straight 10. It was a 5 and a 3, so it's a 10 with my +2, but it's still a 10.
Pretty solid pin.
Okay, no whammy. Ooh, I rolled a 10 plus 0, 10.
Ooh, a true straight 10.
Actual straight 10.
A critical 10.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Normally, you guys always forget to do this, but what you're supposed to do is ask me what comes free and easy when you roll a +10.
Hey, Stu.
I don't care. Don't ask me.
Hey, no. You didn't give us a chance to remember, and I take offense to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What were we supposed to do again?
Ask me what comes free and easy when you roll a 10, and I'm supposed to answer you. But I'm just going to tell you some shit that worked out well, because you guys had a lot of spins in the plates in the air. Spins in the plates. You know when you're spinning plates? That sort of thing?
The tectonic plates.
We got a lot of plates spinning, and they're all very fragile plates.
Did you know plate tectonics wasn't accepted until like 1960 or something crazy? Isn't that wild?
But imagine how wild you would have thought someone was if they were like, guys, the continent, they're moving, man.
Bro.
Yeah, but they fit together so well.
I did some shrooms and I looked into the stars and I felt myself shifting across the cosmos.
You know, that's probably literally actually how it happened.
This may be misinformation, but I'm pretty sure the person who originally came up with it was a meteorologist, and most of his like backup was like, look at how these fit together. They fit together super well.
It's like a
and all the
puzzle.
geologists were like, you're an idiot. You know nothing. And then like 40 years later, another geologist was like, no, this makes a lot of sense. And then they had this giant debate where plate tectonics won, and now you guys are stuck underground.
Yeah.
Did you know that the chain of islands that is Hawaii formed because as the plate moved over this one really hot spot in the mantle, it was kept burning through the plate and formed a volcano, and magma would come out and make an island, and then the plate would shift slowly over time and it would burn a new hole, and then you'd get a new island. That's why it's a long chain of islands.
Like a really slow selling machine. Like,
exactly.
that's very cool. I didn't know this. This was our quick segment, Plate Facts, where we talked about our favorite plate facts. This time we focused on tectonics.
Plate facts with Stu and Angry Brad.
I do like some good plate flags.
So for your beginning of session move, we're going to do a short little time jump here. I'm going to have you guys roll your other beginning of session moves too. So get ready to roll those. Look up the numbers you're supposed to add to the dices you're supposed to roll.
I got them ready.
Excellent. Everything basically starts working as you planned out with your great success you just had. You guys have enacted a plan. You've set a bunch of different things in motion from a lot of different parties that if anything went poorly, a lot could come crashing down. But to you, it seems like things are going well. Papa Woody sends over a small retinue of people that Book had successfully agreed to give some commands to oversee. Instead of using them for their regular purpose, you get them to work on boosting the signal of Johnny Hertz's TTE in hopes of reaching the surface. Everything seems to be progressing pretty well. There's no big surprises until your other beginning of session moves. So let's start with Jacob. I think you have 2.
I do. My first one, that is a 11, actually.
We haven't gotten a vision
for
in
my
so
vision.
long.
It's because they keep getting triggered during this move because he fails every time.
Yeah.
But not this time.
Yeah, it's an 11. So you only get hold 1.
Okay, I think I'm up to 2, I believe, because I think I was 3 before and then I got -2, so I was only at 1.
Yeah, if you hold 3 or more, you have to begin the session by spending 1.
So I think that's what happened last time. Oh, but you only have to spend 1. Ooh, I don't know. Let's say you have 2. It's okay.
Okay. Whispers of the Grey Wing. This is all of mine are plus weird. This is the really interesting one that I'm pretty sure you can screw us pretty bad with. That is also an 11. So I get to ask 2 questions. So for the questions I can ask whose blood has been spilled and not yet cooled? Where does the Grey Wing of Death hover? Who means to do death now and whose heart has turned to violence? Who needs our protection if we will give it to them? And who will be paid to do battle? Who will now pay us? And I think the 2 I'm going to go with is where does the Grey Wing of Death hover? And whose blood has been spilled and not yet cooled?
All of this kind of stuff that we're going to zoom through and talk about in just a second takes about a week, which leaves you with roughly 1 more week before the open auditions at the tower.
I like that.
While that's going on, there's a few things that are happening in the background. I want to know what you guys were doing during all of this or anything you wanted to help out with. So first, Cookie Crisp team shows up to help with the TTE, which I already talked about. Then you get word that the stew has accepted the offer of the underwater dirigible, not for a straight up exchange of their cool underground mapping device, but they're going to let you guys rent it for this purpose, basically. So they took the tattered remains of the underwater dirigible that Book's parents made, and they're letting you use the mapping device for this amount of time, and it got delivered back to the Boxcar children. That's going to inform Papa Woody's plans to create some ways of diverting the water. His were mostly salt-based, so they're probably not going to be very effective. But it is also going to help inform the evacuation routes. And when Cookie Crisp's team arrives, she tells you that they've been spending the past week basically welding that defense factory up, like completely sealing the doors. Everyone's been having to come in and out through some like sealing patches where UAVs used to take out, but they're planning on welding all of that up to try to save as much as possible if it does flood, so they can at least salvage it in the future. Intaglio and Randy Candy, you wanted them to do some shit with the computer, right? You want them to clean it out, make it safe.
Yeah, in the camera, right? They wanted to put a backdoor in so when we trade it in, we can buy in the tower.
We wanted them to clean my laptop, and we wanted them to put in a little hacky hack into the security camera and then deliver it to the tower.
Okay, you want that delivery to happen like this week, like a week beforehand? Is that the goal, you'd say?
Oh, we wanted it as soon as possible so we can monitor.
That way we have more information, right, to plan out our heist.
Okay, that checks out. So yes, they can work basically using the same exact mechanism that the tower used. You guys are going to have this possibility of being able to reach into this camera, or this video sensor, I think is what I keep calling it for some reason instead of a camera. Intaglio has left to go deliver it. So he's gone right now. During that time period, Randy Candy, he's pretty confident he's scraped out any of the underlying adjustments to this laptop. So this seems like a pretty safe laptop. There's not really much more useful information you can get out of the laptop, but you now have this laptop that exists and has your mom's old code on it. During that process, he was able to match up that hardware ID that they were trying to access, and looks like they successfully did, to your files that had the mechanical override codes in it, right?
Yes.
But when you go and try to track down the specific override code, remember these are just like a bunch of bit flips.
Mm-hmm.
It instead is referencing, instead of actually having a value in there, it references DoD override code alpha is in like hard brackets right there.
Could it be Bravo for no specific reason?
No, I'm not letting you look up Bravo in your encyclopedia.
Fuck. I was so confident that you'd forgotten I had a B word encyclopedia.
No, every single episode I'm waiting for you to use it for a good purpose. You never come up with good B words. You have another letter in the alphabet I don't even remember. O?
I didn't write that down.
Well, I didn't write what letters you have. You do have a move for it though. Encyclopedia Botanica.
Yeah, I think it's just B words. I don't think I got another one.
You did get a second one from Cow Tools.
I guess I have to go back and listen to every episode till I find it.
Yeah, if anyone remembers, just send us an email with just the letter and no additional context.
Yeah.
I want a blank subject line and a
no
single
subject,
letter.
so that it gets filtered by every email filter ever. So should we have to check our spam?
Does that happen? I never put subjects in my emails. Is that why no one answers?
Probably why no one answers your emails.
But as you flip through those mechanical override codes, there are some others that are similar, or they have other different things that are kind of redacted and known to be something either standard or defined outside of this list of codes. You do not know why the tower would have access to these. What would both of you be doing mostly during this time period?
So I think Ocean.
I feel like it makes sense for you to be in charge of blasting the tunnels to divert the water, since you have a lot of...
I was going to say I was going to be helping with a TTE, but I do like the blasting the tunnels idea too.
Blasting does sound fun. It sounds much more exciting than playing with cables in a hot Radio Shack.
It does. It does. It does.
Okay, so let's jump to you first while Brady thinks of what he was doing.
Well, I think I was working on the override codes.
You were looking through your entire B encyclopedia to hope there's a synonym for override.
Yep.
Couldn't find it. Okay, back at the Boxcar Children's Lair deep within the baffles, you are overseeing the controlled demolition of some certain areas and tunnels to try to flow the water. And today's an exciting day, and it's because Tokyo 2 arrived, and he has with him that mapper that you traded in the past for a bunch of repairs and some other random shit. So he's getting it set up on a little laptop. Where do you think your like headquarters is for this? It can be wherever you want. It could be in the big defense factory. It could just be in like an open tunnel, or maybe that first area where Papa Woody hangs out and there are all the entrances and exits and stuff. What do you think?
Is there any way we can disable all the traps temporarily in the gauntlet? Is that that's what they call it, right?
Yes, that is what it's called. Yes.
Because I think having a trap in the gauntlet, having the tunnels in the gauntlet, so that way the water is like has like a long path to go, and there's like more path for people to like escape out of.
That's smart.
That's what I'm thinking. Because that way it's kind of like diverts the water away from the town, like pretty far distance too.
So I'm gonna say you're kind of holed up in a little yurt in Papa Woody's main entryway that's just on the other side of the gauntlet.
Okay.
And you've directed people to clear out all the traps, and you have seen just barrels and barrels of snakes being carried out of here. And everyone's like, I don't even know what to do with all these snakes. There's like a bunch of tanks hanging on the walls. There's just snakes everywhere now. This room is like 40% snakes. And while you're overseeing this, you see Tokyo 2 come up and go, hey, I heard we made a little deal. You could rent this. I'm here to help run this for you. I've gotten pretty familiar with it. So what do you like trying to do?
So we're wanting to use that to kind of create a route for the water to pour down. We have a situation coming where I think we're going to have a lot of water pouring down from the surface, and we need to make some tunnels to divert it. I'm looking for some deep tunnels, preferably ones that go underground that have nothing inside. That would give us a lot of space to just pour as much water as possible.
Okay, let's see what we can get. He pulls out his laptop and he hooks up this device and he starts clicking away, and it's the same old screen that you recognized before, but it looks like he's added some like fancy little additions to it. Looks like he's done some upgrades to the GUI here, and it starts humming away, and you see the little map growing just a little inch by inch, just coming out in a like perfect sphere from where you're at. And as it's growing, he's kind of dragging it around and giving you kind of that 3D perspective. Mm-hmm. Give me a Read a sit roll. Can make you roll a sharp roll. One day we'll get you to roll enough sharp rolls to get an XP.
That is a 7 base, but let me check and see. I think Ocean has at least some positive sharp. My character sheet decided to run away. There it is. Yeah, that's an 8.
Ask me one question.
What should I be on the lookout for? Sounds like the go-to basic question for this.
It's a pretty safe one usually.
Actually, I think I'm going to go with what's my best way into a very deep tunnel.
So it keeps growing, and it is, if you understood what was happening, impressively fast, but for the situation you're in right now, painfully slow to watch this thing grow out and map the tunnels. And you realize you're in just like the heart of a hive of hundreds of winding tunnels extending everywhere. One of the first thing that gets revealed based on your position is the gauntlet, and it's way more confusing than it seemed when you got here. It seemed like Crash You, rest in peace, now Crash, was definitely led you through one of the quicker ways to get through this. It seems like it could have been a much more raucous, exciting episode than what actually happened. It extends downward. I would say some bad news you notice pretty quickly is that there is a significant sea here of water. There's already a lot of water in this area coming down from that area near the door, filling a massive underground chamber. And basically, as it keeps growing and growing, you still don't see the end of that sea. So
that's kind of what I was afraid of.
That's some bad news on that front. But there's obviously a lot of dry stuff here too. So you try to map out your best kind of area that stuff could fall into. And you do see some promising areas down some of the corridors and the baffles that seem to flow down towards Subtropolis. And you know, Subtropolis is like a massive, huge area. So if things can wiggle their way through all these tunnels, right now that seems to be the most promising. But it is still growing and getting more accurate. So you think there may be some better information if you kind of wait a little bit longer, maybe a couple days, you may be able to find a better spot.
We have that much time.
But the reason I'm telling you that, I know you don't have a lot of time, but the reason I'm telling you it now is you also notice something a little abnormal about what's happening here. So early on, it was very spherical, this kind of thing growing out and out and out and showing the different area, which kind of makes sense. It's shooting a bunch of radio waves or some shenanigans out and providing information back and getting more and more detail as it figures out where stuff is at. And it can readjust. You notice it starts getting a little bit of a stranger shape, and it seems like it's trying to map more of the defense factory area.
I knew we couldn't trust this damn thing. I warned him.
Smash it with a brick.
Yeah, as he starts doing that, Ocean grabs it and unplugs it immediately to turn it off.
Took you two kind of freaks out. I was like, whoa, no, can't do that. Can't just unpower. What's wrong? What happened? What?
I warned you guys not to trust this thing. It's mapping our defense facility. Look at the pattern it's making. I think the tower can still communicate with this thing.
He definitely looks like you're crazy at first, but after a little bit, he looks at the map and he's like, no, you're right. It's definitely, for some reason, like oblong in this direction. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be pretty even.
Is there any outgoing signal from this thing?
Yeah, but nothing should be listening on that.
Can we turn on off?
Maybe. That would probably take some time to try to figure out. Wait, but real quick, does this mean like someone's been trying to nose like the stew? Like anything we've mapped there?
I'm assuming anything you map the tower gets. That's where this is a community. I can't say for sure. There's only one damn force that has its fingers in every single one of our technologies, and that's the tower.
I got to get back and like warn people.
I warned you guys about this.
Really cool. It's been really great for the time we've had it.
But just, do you have anything down there that the tower would be interested in?
No, we're just living in a bunch of muck piles, you know?
Book falls out of the ceiling. Hey, have you guys saved like the
just about to smash cut?
Have you guys like saved the maps that you've created of the stew?
Yeah, we've been using it to kind of scout out more areas. We have access to them.
Take a look at those and see like which area it's zeroed in on, you know, which areas look stretched.
That's a good idea.
And that's where you know that you have to, you know, buckle down and reinforce or, you know, set some extra watches, that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go do that.
Also, question mark. How much could the stew rise without you guys all dying?
Well, it really depends. If you think about it, we live on a sandbar between two large bodies of water.
So not very much.
So that area, not very much. But
there's
honestly,
drains and it flushes, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say next. Like,
So what if we timed it with one of those flushes?
most of them are regular-ish, but not like super regular. We really, even with this mapping, most people want to use it to find like cool food and tech and shit like that. But I did get a little bit of time to try to like study more of how that mechanism works, at least around where we live. And I still don't know exactly what like triggers it. Something is triggering more drainage, less drainage, those sorts of things, because it's definitely seems like stable. Like we live on that sandbar and it never floods. Like it's just like minor changes throughout the day, like a foot or two.
Could you bring us the maps that you've created of the stew, and maybe we could find pathway for the water that bypasses the stew itself and goes directly to the drains?
Well, problem is that's like 5 days away.
What do you mean?
So like I'd get back here. Like it took me almost a week to get here. So I got to go back.
Wouldn't have time.
Which way did you go?
The safe way.
We did not take the safe way at all.
We did not do that when we went to the stew. I didn't even know there was a safe way. Cow Tools just
changes
took us.
everything.
Hey, Cow Tools.
Yeah, I took Cow Tools' way. Yeah.
There's no way you took Cow Tools' way and that was the safe way. Hey, Cow Tools. Hey, pal, you here?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Yeah.
There's a safe way?
Yeah.
That's not the way that you showed us.
No, I showed you the fast way.
Yeah.
Oh, Cow Tools, while you're here,
God damn it.
what if you go get those materials for the stew from the stew? Do you think you could get back here pretty quick with those?
It's still going to be a few days, definitely, but a little faster than this old guy.
Okay, and make sure you warn them too about the mapping capabilities.
Sure, absolutely.
And I turn to Tokyo too. It's like, is that okay with you? You trust Cow Tools to carry this information?
He's never heard us before. He's brought us so much good shit.
All right, Cow Tools, fly. No, what's the quote? No,
Fly, you tools.
That's it. Fly, you tools. Oh man, you take everything I say and make it better. Damn.
Book melts back into the wall.
Wait, Book. And
He's
Ocean
gone.
grabs his shoulder before he melts into the wall, and he pulls him in a little bit and says,
Hey, hi, Ocean.
"For diverting the water,
Yeah.
how low is the tower you think compared to where we are right now?
Oh, you want to do a little the Batman action?
Do you think there's a chance we could flood it?"
Flood like Subtropolis? I don't think we can just flood the tower. If we're flooding Subtropolis, we're flooding all of Subtropolis. But Subtropolis is huge. So like, I feel like that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I think that would cripple it.
Cripple the tower?
Yeah, probably cripple us too.
I
But
feel like we gotta look up how much water a Humvee could drive through, because I bet it's a lot.
I guess looking at the scanner and the map that we kind of made, I assume it shows depth a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Now you're getting full 3D.
Would we
view.
be able to estimate from what we currently have and like knowing the path we took to get here, the height difference between like Subtropolis and the baffles?
Yeah, you did have to go down to get to the
Okay, we had to
baffles,
go down.
But there's a but.
All right.
And it's that Hamlet opening is way up high on the top of the precipice.
Right,
there.
yeah.
So you probably didn't go that whole depth, like almost certainly. So you definitely think like the base floor of Subtropolis is lower than where you're at now.
Perfect.
It's not going to be like a foot lower. It's
Okay.
gonna be
Perfect.
at least a couple dozen feet lower.
I think we flood Subtropolis.
Stu, what's the diameter of the transfer?
Very large. It looks like it was made to be able to fit like literally warships.
Okay, but hear me out. What is the actual number?
Oh my God. Are you about to do some gallon math?
I'm doing a volumetric analysis because I know how deep we
man,
are.
Let Book be smart, Stu. Let Book be smart, Stu.
Do this between episodes.
I know. Well, yeah, but just give me the number so I fucking have it. Then I'll do the math tonight.
The ceiling I said was 100 yards, right? I said like a football field. So a proportional door to 100 yards tall door. I would say it's probably a little over 200 feet wide, the doors.
Okay.
You have seen some schematics of the inside, so you know it's a little bigger inside, but not hugely bigger. It's mostly doors.
So you're saying the door is as wide as the transfer is?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a little wider inside, but not too much more.
So 200 feet?
Yep, a little over 200 feet.
Okay, let me pull up my mystery board. Mystery board's back, baby.
So, Book, a couple days later, you get some exciting news as you hear a vrooming and a power sliding as Vesuvius arrives, and he goes.
Isn't he in a robot suit?
He power slides in the suit, of course.
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
And there's this big scattering of gravel and dirt and a little jet of fire comes out of his boot, and it just kind of melts the stone underneath it. And he goes, Book, I got some very exciting news for you.
Yeah?
Are you excited?
I'm excited. Hold on. What melted?
The stone. I melted the stone with my boot foot.
Jesus.
It's hot.
That's my wall, dude.
It's your floor. Close enough. But there's exciting news.
Okay, hit me.
I want you more excited. I know you don't know what it is yet, but I want you to be like a little kid on Christmas.
Oh, wait. I haven't been doing my voice. What do you have for me?
Johnny Hertz says that they've ramped up the power of that TTE as much as it's going to go without blowing. So I think if we're ready to do any communicado eventiados, now would be the time to do it.
Okay, perfect.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Hop on my back.
No, that's okay.
Okay, let's walk.
It's got to feel nice walking after all this time. He hasn't walked for a long time. He's got a full body now and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to the TTE.
It's hot in this room. You go into Johnny Hertz's shack. He's not wearing a shirt right now and drenched in sweat.
Do you remember when we found that awesome superpowered radiator and we traded it instead of holding onto it? Who did we trade that to?
You traded that to Clever Hans, who is a part of the clan of Cowtools.
Yeah, I reckon we won't get that back though.
No, probably not.
Okay. How hot is it? Is it like dangerously hot?
To be in here for a long amount of time, probably.
Even with my metal lungs?
You'll be fine. You'll survive.
Cool. All right.
Johnny Hertz is in here and he's not dead.
So the last time we communicated with TE, we did get bit beeps and boops back.
Affirmative.
Oh, I was saying that to Stu. Okay.
Stu isn't here anymore. It's Johnny Hertz. Hey, Book. I'm glad to see you on your own 2 feet again.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Sorry. Hey, Johnny, how are you doing?
Not great because I'm supposed to be recording and we've taken a little hiatus because of this very important science project.
Well, you can still broadcast on your regular equipment, can't you?
There has been all sorts of clamoring in here. It is not good. It all gets picked up on the mic. Your Boxcar Children friends do not know how to work quietly.
Well, I'm sorry, Johnny. I like your show.
I'm excited. This is almost done, so I can get back on the air after this. So I'm excited, and it will not be 130 degrees in here.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Why would the temperature go down?
Oh, I assumed we'd unhook some of this crazy shit, and you look over and there's like a lawnmower motor and like some fancy like glowing tube, and then there's like jumper cables connecting that to like a potato that has some wires coming out of it.
We have a propane generator
cord.
too from that guy whose kid died.
Yes, all this sort of shit is hooked up, and it looks crazy. There's a kibbles generator there cranking through propane, just shooting that into the air here, making it nice and wavy and delicious. And he goes, okay, what are we supposed to listen on? Or do we just want to do like a big scan of the airwaves, or any ideas?
We want to broadcast. I pull up the schematics that we got from my parents' tent.
Yes.
Of the transfer. I want to look at like the control tower at the surface with the pumps.
Yes.
And I want to see if there's any information about like the comms situation there.
You get some information, and it's some military band type shit that has been set up that Cookie Crisp is going to help you navigate. She has this like in the receiver you have there. Mm-hmm. She's welded on some other shit that has these other dials. And as she turns it, it's going between a bunch of like numbers that make sense in this military band. But if you look at the little display on the old one, how you used to have it, it's showing like 5 Batman symbol 0.2 and shit like that. Like it looks wild as she turns it. It's just different digits all shoved together. Very wingdings.
Nice. And then does it say anything about like what protocol or what like how the message encoding works?
Yeah, but you don't understand it.
Why not?
It's random shit. It's referencing a bunch of standards and documents and weird things. Letters, a lot of letters.
Cookie Crisp.
Yes.
I think our best bet is to use Morse code.
Okay, I'm very familiar.
Oh, good. Because I don't know Morse code.
What message do you want?
I think the message should just be
drink your Ovaltine.
Cookie Crisp.
Cookies?
Cookie Crisp.
Yes.
I'd like you to send this message. Hailing all McCready's.
Activate
Activate pumps. Wait, let me retake that. Activate surface pumps.
Backspace.
Book.
How long should we loop this for?
Until we hear something back.
Oh shit, we can't do both those things at once.
Why not?
Because we're outputting way too much energy to be able to listen. All of our receivers are going to be blocked up.
Minute on, minute off.
You do that a few times, and every time you listen, you don't hear anything. And after about 30 minutes, a Cookie Crisp goes, oh shit, so there's like a phased array component of this. We could try to direct the receiver at a specific location. Do you know where we're trying to get a response from? We just have it up right now. I figured that was close enough, but
I know exactly where we're trying to get a response from. What is the distance from Hamlet opening to the transfer in kilometers?
You haven't mapped all the way out here, but based on what you know, it seems like it's about 20-ish miles.
Oh, that's actually perfect. Okay. 20 miles is 32 kilometers, and we're 30 kilometers underground. So I'm going to tell Cookie Crisp to aim the TTE 45 degrees in the direction of the transfer, and that should aim it directly at the station, the pump station.
She turns some dials and knobs and does a little cranky thing on the like Jack in the Box type thing to the side really slowly, and the music starts getting slower and slower, and she stops it right at a particular moment. And she goes, okay, this should be 45. Let's do this again. She hits a button that replays all the beeps and boops from before. And then a minute later, she stops and doesn't hear anything. And you can tell she's getting frustrated, definitely, about this, because this was like a lot of work to put together. She definitely feels like there's a lot of important stuff she should be doing back in her soon to be flooded home. Maybe we don't know what signal we'd even be receiving on, right? We don't know that this is your signal. We didn't transmit that. Let's just look through the band and try to find anything. And she goes and starts turning a little dial to the side. And as she's going through all of these different numbers, there's occasional like static that jumps in that she stops in for a second and tries to listen in, and there's nothing. And then as she goes, she suddenly stops and she cranks up the volume on the receiver, and you hear something that sounds very similar to what you transmitted out. You hear these clear beeps and boops coming back. It's not like before where you were like overloaded with the sound of a modem. Cookie Crisp is like looking at a bunch of readouts, and she says, yeah, this looks like it's coming from like exactly 45 degrees from where we're at up. Definitely probably in that kind of range if they're able to reach us. I don't know. She goes to start trying to translate the Morse code, but you don't have to wait for her to translate it because you recognize what it's saying, and it is a clear repeating SOS. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Oops, All Apocalypses. I recently realized that I accidentally edited out a conversation we had in our Oops, All Talk Apocalypse episode about going to every other week releases, which if you've been paying attention, has happened. That's going to give us more time to do fun things like one-off episodes, episode exploders, one-shots, special holiday things, and stuff like that. So get excited for those things to ramp up their frequency. The music and editing was performed by Stu Masterson, Brady McDonough made all the art and logo, and Jacob does all our spiking so we always hit the mark. Love you, bye. I should have used my natural laugh there to transition into the next one, but instead I'll do a fake one. Well, as that night comes to a close.
You're a prick.
That was such a good fake laugh.
They're all fake. That's my secret.
Oof. Yikes.